Hi guys, it's Andrea Edwards doing my 50 years, 50 wisdoms, and first up I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who sent me messages publicly and privately yesterday after my first 50 wisdom. As you can imagine, when you do something like this, it's a pretty big deal from a heart and energy perspective, so the support is really appreciated. And if I could just encourage everyone to do one thing today, it's go and support someone who's doing something great. Go and support someone who's creating, an artist. Go and buy their painting, a musician. Go and buy their record. Go and a blogger who's putting themselves out there. It's really hard to do that, I know, because I've been doing it for such a long time. But support your community. That's it's really powerful, and just wanted to share because what you guys did for me yesterday really meant the world to me, and I know that we can all be that for our communities. Anyway, so wisdom number 2 is what I'm going to call trust first. And trust first means that when you meet people, instantly embrace them from a place of trust. Now, I know culturally this isn't something that is everywhere in the world. I've noticed many cultures where people are quite guarded. And I don't know, I've just kind of always I haven't always, probably in my early years, I wasn't so trusting, but maybe travelling, being by myself for so many years, being in countries by myself for a long time, I had to learn to trust people. And what I found is that most of the time people surprise you. Of course, you're going to find people that don't deserve that trust, but once you work that out, you push them away and you move on, right? And keep the ones close to you that are obviously worthy of the trust. So just to give you a couple of examples that I've experienced over the years. So I remember once meeting a friend of a friend, and this friend of mine was a really good friend, but her friend made me earn her trust, and it was really confronting because my attitude towards my friends' friends is if my friends love them, I love them. So that was a really interesting experience for me. Of course, sometimes you'll meet people for the first time and your intuition and everything in your body is saying this is not a person that you should trust. And I think it's important to pay attention to that. And I've had many of those experiences. I can think of one where I was at a business meeting in Hong Kong, and it was a social situation, and everyone insisted I meet this guy, and I shook his hand, I looked him in the eye, and I instantly knew that that was not a relationship that I should pursue. The sort of person I am and the sort of person he was meant that we couldn't ever really make that connection. It doesn't mean I couldn't trust him, it just meant that we were not compatible personally, right? And then the other one is I went to a global event in London, caught up with a whole bunch of people that I used to work with, and there was this lady that was part of the group, and she was just so frosty towards me, and I was like, God, I have no idea what I've done to you. Even though everyone that she worked with, that she liked, that she was fun with, but she was really cold to me, and I was like, oh, all right. And then the next year, the same global summit was happening in the US, and it was exactly the same scenario. And there was this one night where we're sitting next to each other at a bar, and everyone left all of a sudden, and I just sort of turned around to her and said, have I done something wrong? Like, have I said something wrong? And she was really shocked and didn't really say anything, but from the next day we were like best friends, which was weird for me. But anyway, and I recognise it. It's, some people really struggle with trust, and I think some people are lacking in trust for very good reasons. They've been very betrayed, very damaged by people in their lives, which makes them cautious about trusting strangers and trusting new people. And I totally get that. The problem is if you allow those people to live in your head for the rest of your life, I think it makes your life smaller. So, like obviously there are people with very serious betrayal and trust issues, and I hope if you're one of them and you're watching this and you're thinking I could never trust again, go and get help, go and get it sorted out, because I find that when you go into the world with a trust first philosophy, the world is a more beautiful place. The people that you put your trust into are more beautiful to you, they're more responsive to you, who they are as a person, it flowers, right? So, and yeah, I know it's not easy for some people, I really do, and I really respect that. But I remember walking into new offices, and everyone's got to get to know you, and you've got to work out who everybody is, and some people really, really hold back on giving you that trust, right? And what happens, I find, is that some people just can't be bothered doing the work to earn the trust. So what happens is you close yourself off to these potential relationships, which could be fantastic. So look, I know it's not easy. I know that some people really struggle with it from a cultural point of view. But if you can trust people first and let them into your heart, I'm not saying hurt you, don't let them do that. And I'll talk again another time, I'll talk about how I do cope with people who've let me down in my life. And of course they have, everyone gets let down at some point. But if you can maybe just give it a try, just meet somebody new, go in there with an open heart, open trust, and see if it builds into something great. And if it doesn't, that's okay, that's all right. Just move on. Don't get stuck in it. Don't get hung up about it. Don't spend time in your head thinking about it, because they're just not ready for you, and that's fine. You know, I think we do spend a lot of time in sort of self-doubt, self-blame when these sort of situations happen, but it's not about you, it's about them. So just move on. But yeah, if you want to live a bigger life, one of the things that I've really learnt along the journey is to be really open to everybody I meet. I treat everybody equally. Nobody gets any special attention. I don't care who they are and what they do. If they're the richest man in the world, I could not care less. But I just trust everybody, and I'm looking for the goodness of the human spirit. And you know, the next step, of course, is once you do decide that someone is good, then spend the time investing in them. Spend the time investing in the friendship. You know, one of my friends in Singapore is this lovely lady called Amber. Hello, Amber. You're one of those cool people that will actually be watching my 50 Wisdoms. But Amber and I met at an event. I was speaking on a panel, and what I said really resonated with her. And she came up and spoke to me afterwards, and we had a really funny chat. And then the best thing that Amber did was she really invested in me. I was organising a whole bunch of public stuff, so she was turning up. She was really committed to developing our friendship. And because she was committed to developing the friendship, I was committed to it as well. So, but it starts from being open and trusting. So, well, like I say, give it a go. It's not always going to work. Sometimes you're going to be let down. That's okay. That's life, right? But your life will be richer. I promise it will be richer if you're capable of doing it. All right, there's wisdom number 2. If you think somebody needs to hear it, feel free to pass it on. And let's try and create a more loving, trusting world. I think we're all a bit sick of the fear and the anxiety and the horribleness that's going on in the world at the moment. And I think it starts with trusting each other, being more beautiful to each other. All right, more tomorrow.